And we have made it to week 9. This week we're going to be taking all of the assessment protocols and information and starting to write out our report. So we're going to go over scoring for each one of the assessments, and then you are going to actually be writing the results section, the strengths, the areas of growth, and suggested IEP goals. Just as a reminder, I put in the movie that I created and showed you at the beginning of the semester that you can use as a support to remind you of how a report should look, or some examples of how some reports have looked. There's also some websites here for helping you come up with some IEP goals for your students. And then what's next is you need to turn in your protocols with annotations. You also need to cross out the student's name, so that's one that is often forgotten. But you also need to upload Activity 7 and read Chapter 8 and 9 and review the assessment report video as mentioned above. So Activity 7, I'm just going to pull that down so we can go through what the expectation for that is. And so you're going to be, like I said, you're writing the results section for your assessment report. So here it says assessments used, and you're going to describe the assessments that you use here. So the Woodcock-Johnson or the Wyatt, the RAT or the Brigance, student work sample, observations, interviews, a review of records, all of those things could just be listed in bullet points right there. And then you're going to go into the and with the 1 to 2 sentences explaining what you mean by that. So next you have the results section, and you'll see that this is in the center, this is to the left, and you have the test here, the standard score, the age or the grade equivalent. You only need to put one, and usually it depends on what your district uses, but you can also just choose what you would feel most comfortable with. So oftentimes, talking about grade level for, a nonverbal kid is a little bit more sensitive than saying that they're reading at the 3-year-old level or that type of thing. Percentile rank is important. Remember, we talked about percentile rank being where the student falls in relationship to the other students taking the test who are either that age or grade. And then the classification, we're going to be going over this in class, but it basically gives a word so that the numbers aren't just there, but so that the parent or the team knows, are they low, are they average, are they superior or high level in that different section. Now, for the Woodcock-Johnson, I created this chart, and it has most of the subtests, but depending on which subtest you gave, you might not have a score for these parts. So you're going to have to adjust this to the testing that you actually completed. The Wyatt 3, same thing. We've got the standard score, age or grade equivalent. So just erase the age or the grade, depending on what you choose, percentile and classification. We've got the RAT 4, standard score, percentile, classification, and then the Brigance. Now this is just an example of some of the assessment sections and subtests. You were not required to use these, but I thought I would just leave them in there, but just write down all the subtests that you administered. And then the work sample, remember I asked you to do the reasoning, the directions, and just take a picture of either if it's an action, then the student doing the work sample, or if there's a test that they had or a writing that they had, you can just take a picture and insert it right there. And then the strengths, so you're going to be using the data that you have gotten from doing the assessments and the interviews and everything. You're going to write 3 strengths, and you're going to give detailed examples from the assessment data on why it's a strength, and then do the same thing with the areas of growth. And then the suggested IEP goals, and you're going to use the SMART goals. And I gave you, in your assessment templates, I actually gave you some ways of writing those. So, and then the feedback is just, I now need to know, because we're coming to the end, that you're proficient in all of these different assessments. So if there's any assessment that you don't feel like you're totally proficient in, I still have time to help support you on learning that assessment. So here you're just kind of doing a statement on proficiency so that I know and I can check off that I have done everything I can to make sure you're in good standing. Let's see, and next, we'll go back. Next is the protocol. So here you're going to upload your protocols. So you're going to upload either the Wyatt or the Woodcock-Johnson. You get 20 points for that, and then the Brigance or the Rat, and you get 20 points for that. And you can just scan these on your phone, using your phone or a printer or something, and just upload the PDF. And remember, you can always upload more than one assignment. So I think you can upload up to 20 for this assignment here. Then here is the PowerPoint for class, which we'll be going over, and that takes us through week 9. So if you have any questions, of course, let me know.